In today's video, we're going to dive into something that almost everyone who has ever signed an insurance contract worries about, but rarely actually takes the time to really understand it, which is how to read an insurance policy without getting burned. What's up, you guys? My name's Ashley, and in this video, we're going to break down the anatomy of a typical policy in really simple language so you don't miss any details. You'll also learn what each section of the policy means, why it matters, and how to avoid surprises when it's time to file a claim. Stick around because by the end, you will feel confident that you can pick up almost any policy and understand what you're actually getting. Let's get into it. So when you buy an insurance policy, you're actually buying a legal contract. The contract sets the rules for the relationship between you and the insurance company. It tells you who is covered, what is covered, how much the insurer will pay if you file a claim, and what you have to do to keep your coverage active. Most policies follow a similar structure. They usually begin with a declarations page that lists key information such as your name, the policy number, the policy period, the premium, the coverage limits, and the deductibles. After that, you'll typically see an insuring agreement, which is the insurer's promise to pay for certain types of loss under certain conditions. Then you will see exclusions, which spell out what is not covered, and conditions, which spell out your responsibilities as the policyholder. And finally, you will usually see definitions and endorsements. So definitions explain what certain words mean in the context of the policy, and endorsements modify the coverage by adding, removing, or changing terms. Once you understand what each section is designed to do, reading an insurance policy becomes much less intimidating. The goal is not to memorize every line. The goal is to know where to look so you can find the answers when it matters. One of the most important parts of any policy is the declarations page. Think of it like the snapshot summary. It lists the policyholder's name, the policy number, the effective dates, and the premium you are paying. It also lists your deductibles, your coverage limits, and any endorsement attached to your policy. If you're comparing quotes, the declaration page is often the fastest way to see whether you're truly comparing the same coverage across two different companies. Two policies can look pretty similar in price, but be completely different in deductibles, limits, or covered categories. After the declarations page comes the insuring agreement. So this section explains what type of losses the policy is designed to cover. Some policies are named perils, which means they only cover losses caused by specific events that are listed. Other policies are sometimes described as open perils or all risk, which generally means they cover a broader set of losses except those that are specifically excluded. And next comes the exclusions. So exclusions are one of the most important sections to read because they explain exactly where your coverage stops. Health insurance policies also often have exclusions related to experimental treatments or non-covered services. If you don't read exclusions, you can really end up paying for a policy that does not protect you in the exact scenario you were worried about. After exclusions, you'll find the conditions section. Conditions explain what you have to do to keep the policy valid and to file a claim properly. Then you've got the definitions and endorsements. So definitions really matter because insurance companies use very specific language. A term that sounds normal in everyday life can have a specific meaning in the policy. Endorsements are also important because they change the base policy. If you have valuable items like jewelry, artwork, or equipment, endorsements are often how people properly insure them. If reading feels overwhelming, there are a few practical ways to make it easier. You can highlight any term that is bolded or italicized because those are often terms that are defined somewhere else in the document. You can also search the PDF for words like exclusion, deductible, limit, loss settlement, or proof of loss. Those searches usually bring you to the sections that matter the most. Another helpful method is reading with a checklist in mind. When you read with questions, it becomes less like homework and more like you're finding answers that you'll actually use. It also helps to compare policies side by side. Two auto policies might both say full coverage, but one may include rental reimbursement and roadside assistance, while the other does not. And finally, remember that the policy should evolve as your life changes. Most people renew automatically and never look at their policy again, which is how they end up underinsured or paying for coverage that no longer fits. Reading your policy has real benefits. The biggest benefit is confidence. When you understand what is covered and what's excluded, you're far less likely to be blindsided during a claim. You can also catch errors. Mistakes do happen. Finding those issues early on can prevent major problems later. The downside is that policies are dense and written in legal language. It can be boring, repetitive, and time-consuming. The most important thing here is reading your policy is not about fear, it's about control and clarity. Now, if you want to make this so much easier, especially when picking an insurance, we highly recommend starting with a quick comparison tool before you commit to a policy. Using a survey can just help you see multiple options in one place so you can compare deductibles, limits, and exclusions without bouncing between a dozen tabs. If you're shopping for auto insurance, you can go ahead and use our car insurance survey down in the description below. And if you're looking for homeowners coverage, you can go ahead and also use our link down in the description below. The survey takes just a few minutes. So you just put in your zip code, if you rent or you own, what type of property you live in, how many bedrooms, and a couple other questions. And then it will be populated with a bunch of options for you. Or if you prefer more well-known options, another two that we highly recommend are Lemonade or State Farm. And you can compare what they include versus what they exclude. The goal is not to find the cheapest policy. The goal is to find the policy you actually understand and can rely on when something happens. So again, if you want to check out Lemonade or State Farm, we do have exclusive links down in the description below, and you can go ahead and get a free quote from them. Reading your policy is worth it for anyone who wants to make informed decisions and avoid surprises. If you're buying a new policy, reviewing the declarations page and exclusions helps you compare quotes accurately and spot missing coverage before you pay. This habit is especially important if you have a family, own a home, have significant assets, or run a business, because the financial consequences of a coverage gap can be much larger than expected. And if you prefer support, you can absolutely ask an agent to walk you through your policy step by step. As a personal note, I know how overwhelming it can feel trying to decode the fine print of an insurance policy on your own. There's so much information in there, and honestly, sometimes I would skim through a policy and my eyes would glaze over before I even got to the exclusions. But taking it slower and breaking the document into sections just makes a huge difference. And again, if you want to explore your options and compare policies side by side, check our links down in the description below. I do want to mention that these are affiliate links, which means we may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. So if you do choose to use our links, we just want to thank you so much in advance for supporting our channel. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you aren't already. And of course, leave any comments or questions below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.